Praises to the Most High in Christ on this Shabbat day. We just want to come to you and spend a little time this morning just putting the slaves scattering together. That's all I'm doing. Not trying to discredit uh, the 12 tribe chart, not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. But the reason why I say we have to uh, tell the truth is because it's obvious. It's obvious that the camps don't have the time frame of the scattering correct. Now, we've seen videos, and there's videos online that I could use. Uh, uh, Fair use. Want to say fair use? The Fair Use Act, 1976, Fair Use Act. Allowances is made that we could use for other videos and pictures in order to teach the people. This is what the colonizers should be doing, according to the rights of indigenous people and the Human Rights Council and courts say that they are supposed to redress the people that they came in the land, their ancestors came in the land and displaced and stole, and they're holding on to our stolen property now, the land, our laws, our identity, our resources, all the wealth that we gathered and blessed the whole earth with. This captivity blessed all the 83s, all Psalm 83 enemies of God. This captivity blessed you all. You're all in your best positions now because of what the Edomites done. And we know you all are Edomites. You are the bloodline of Esau. Everybody that's in government, in the world, in all the lands, running things right now, you are Edomites. And we know we have blessed Edom, our so-called brother. Jacob's twin brother Esau, or is the forefather of the Edomites. So to get it all straight for those who don't know, the earth is being ran by Esau, the Edomites, right now. They are in power. You got it? They're falling. Their kingdom is over. The Gentile times are over. And the completion of their bring down will be when the Most High come back and send his chariots, his army back to take them out of power, physically take them out of power. In other words, dismantle all their technology and their wicked power, their guns, their bombs. He's going to dismantle all that. After make them use those missiles and bombs that they had planned for us on themselves, right? At which time we're going to be caught up. The 1/3 is going to be caught up and moved out of the way while they destroy Babylon, North America here. North, South, and Central America will be destroyed by the third part of the earth, which would be where the rest of the Edomites are gathered now. China, Russia, the wild man, the dragon, Africa, and let's see, all the European lands they call European lands. They're going to all team up and send nukes over here and destroy North America. We see that happening right now. We see them gathering up in that Middle East, against that Middle East. It's happening right now. But what we're here for today is to try to set in order the scattering, the disbursement, because we read Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Let's read there. Let's go there. Let's first read Deuteronomy 28 and 64. For all of you who have not understood this, let's read it. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all the people from one end of the earth, even until the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. We know that's talking about Christianity and Islam. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy feet have rest, but the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart, a failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. So we know that's talking about us. We're the only people that are in that condition right now by another nation, other nations, another nation, Esau, right? Nations mean other people in rulership. Esau in rulership in other geographical locations. The Hamites still have us in captivity over there. We're in their land. They, in their governments. We are still on the bottom wherever we are. That's a nation. Let's see who else. Elam. Wherever we are, the lighter skinned people are ruling over us. We are on the bottom of social status, right? Okay? That's sorrow. That's sorrow of mine. We are still trembling in our hearts what's going to happen to us next, right? So let's go to Deuteronomy 68, okay? And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again, slavery again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee as a nation. Thou shalt not see it no more. We shall not travel that slave route again anywhere. It should not bring us in slavery again. I'll show you that in a second. Okay? Thou shalt see it no more again. This is the last slavery, okay? The end of the Gentile times will end with these people, okay? Your enemies shall, wait a minute, thou shalt not see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. They are our enemies. Wherever we are, the people who are in government are our enemies. And the people who are calling themselves sovereign over us are our enemies in every land. Sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. We will work their jobs to survive. We have to pay them for everything that belongs to us on the earth. Earth was made for our sake. We have to pay them to live. We have to pay them to live. Are you getting this? And no man shall redeem thee. No leader shall raise up and say, let's make America great. Let's make America great for these Israelites again. No. He's not redeeming. The America that Trump is talking about is not the Israelites, the black people, right? Charlie Kirk, no, he wasn't for us. None of their leaders are for us. You got to get that in your heads. They're not for us. They're stealing. They're keeping us on the bottom. I'm saying this for a reason. So when we go back to understanding what happened and how they scattered us, is for this reason. No man shall redeem you. No man shall buy you in order to get you out of this slavery. No man is working to help you be delivered from this slavery. They are selling you. They say, well, we fought for America. They fought to see who will rule over the slaves, over the Israelites. They fought for the land that was ours. They fought for our resources. Who would control our resources? Who would take our identity from us? That's what they fought each other for. They're like ravaging wolves. They're fighting each other for the prey. That's all this is about. These people are fighting. The whole world is fighting each other for the prey. The earth is ours. The title deeds is ours. We gave it up. Just like Esau gave up his birthright, we gave up our birthright, our forefathers, and we are still doing it. So you got to remember, it's very important to understand that we are giving up our birthright. In the Israelite camps, they're doing it right now. Everybody who said they want to be FBAs, young niggas, African Americans, colored folks, I want to just work this job and have a nice house. The white man is all right. You're giving up your birthright. You're giving up the title deed to your inheritance. You're dishonoring your ancestors. You're getting rid of your proper persona, your identity. Therefore, nobody's going to take you serious until we come back together and show a force of unity. And that's when we're going to get our power back. That's when the Most High is going to recognize us as a nation again, as his people. He's going to make them recognize us as his strong nation that's standing against the wicked. Okay? That's when that's going to happen. When we gather together and say, we will not suffer you to force us under your jurisdiction. As a people, we won't vote no more. We ain't participate in none of your customs. Your kingdom is falling, and we don't want, only 1/3 of us going to do that. Well, maybe the 2/3 will, but they're not going to keep the laws of God. They're only doing it because they see the strength in numbers. But are they going to keep 2/3 of our people are going to die in nuclear war when the rest of these nations here in the so-called United States territory, the United Corporation territory, when they go down, 2/3 of our people are going down with them. So no, we don't expect all of you guys to claim your identity back, to repent, to come back to your covenant with the Most High. We know a lot of Christians ain't going to make it, man. Jesus told us that in the seventh chapter of Matthew's 21st and 22nd verse. Everybody that call on him will not enter the kingdom. Everybody that say, Lord, Lord, will not enter the kingdom. So we know we don't care. At this point, we can't care is that y'all reject and gaslight and makes wicked slurs and statements against your own people and ancestors. We don't care if you want to be young niggas, if you want to be FBAs, if you want to be Negro, black, and color and keep holding on to this political system. We don't care. It's still coming down, and we're still going up. This kingdom is coming down with y'all attached to it, and we still going to detach and go up and become the victorious people who we are. So let's get back to this scattering. Where are we now? Let's see. 13 minutes. We won't be very long. So we were talking about this being the last captivity. We're going to show you that in a couple of places. But first, I want to read these statements by the Most High. He said, 2nd Ezra 15:8, for those who cannot see, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. It's talking about the people who we are in captivity. He's talking about his enemies, which they have profanely committed. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Right? So, behold, the innocent and the righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complaineth continually. So that's what we should be doing, crying, complaining to the Most High over the shed blood. Okay, so now we're going to show you here. Let's go ahead and read all this. And therefore saith the Lord, 9th verse, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in Egypt. So what does that mean? If he said, I will not suffer them to dwell in Egypt, and we are in Egypt, which means captivity, he means that at some point we are going to be released from the curses if we return to our identity, bethink ourselves, repent, uh, uh, ask for forgiveness, confess that we are wicked, being all these other religions, and keeping the custom of the white man, and attaching ourselves with contracts and going under their jurisdiction and not keeping his laws and his Sabbath. Uh, then when we do that, we won't go back into Egypt again. We won't go back in their slavery again that they're trying to do by making America great again. Okay? He said, I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, that's his power, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land. So he said, the 14th verse, he said, woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another people, and the sword with sword in their hands. Okay? And there shall be sedition among and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor prince, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you see, when this start happening, when we begin to stand against them, we will gain power. The course of their action shall stand in their power, right? The more we resist in our minds and resist their customs, the more we will see our powers manifest and develop right before us. When the fear is going to fall off of us, that's going to give us power over these nations. 2 Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Explain to us, how do we identify the beginning and the end? Okay? Or then he answered and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the time? This is second Ezra talking to God, or the angel that's in behalf of God. Or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of that follows? This is what he told him. He said, and he said unto me, from Abraham to Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him. Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him. Let me read that again. And he said unto me, from Abraham to Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born unto him. Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. We saw that in Genesis 25 and 25. We saw that their birth. It's talking about the birth of Esau and Jacob. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that which follow. Okay? So that's why I'm telling you, all these nations in government are Edomites. They're in the land of the different nations, Japheth and Ham and Ishmael, but Shem, Ham, and Jash, and Shem, Ham, and Japheth and Ishmael. Shem, Ham, Japheth, and Ishmael. Those are the fathers of the nations, right? That's on the earth today. But they are being ran by Edomites. Edomites and Hamites. Edomites and Hamites are running the world today. Because Africa is still Hamites. They are still ruling over, they are still governing themselves, but under the policies of the Edomites. Africa has surrendered, actually asked Russia to help them. They are standing with Russia, under Russia's power, right? Okay, so we got it, right? So now We're going to talk a little bit about that scattering. We're 20 minutes in, so we're not going to go too much farther with this, but just showing you a few pictures here. One of the main things I want to show you is that when we look at this King James photo here, the second, this is the second after the original King James. Why didn't he just use his own hair? Why didn't they use King James' own hair? Now, this is an old portrayal of King James. It's iconoclasm, right? They got him with an afro, frizzy hair, woolly hair. Why were they wearing woolly hair wigs back then? You got to read between the lines, right? You got to read between the lines. They had on woolly hair because they were imitating the original people on the earth, right? So we see a map here where they're showing you when they came over here, the territory that they took is all in red. Now, originally, we wanted to think they hit North America first, but I realized that they were coming in underneath North America. Now, when you notice how the landmass are setting, where they're setting at. Now, North America is setting right above Africa, right? A little bit above Europe, actually, in a northwest position above Europe. Okay? And so it was easier for them to come from where Europe is sitting. Look at that red over there under that in the top right hand corner. We see that red mass of land over there. And we see how it was easier for them to come to the Portuguese to come over here and to the West Indians first, right? It was West Indies first. Okay? Spanish West Indies, that's how Columbus came first. They did not come straight across North America. They didn't come across there. I don't know why, but maybe they said it was a river that flowed from the east to the west that brought them over here. I think they took that passageway. They say you can come there without sails or anything because they used to make that travel from North America, from North Africa to the Americas, the West Indies, right? The West Indies, South America, they had all kind of stuff down here, gold and everything in these West Indies, South America down here. South America, they had everything over here. So Solomon and even the Egyptians, they used to come over here, right? They used to come to Mexico. They came to North America, but they never lived here, right? Okay? So when the Northern Kingdom tribes came over here thousands of years before Columbus, right, or before any of those European start coming over here, there were already 12 tribes here after the Syrian captivity. You find that second Ezra's 13 and 42, I think. 42, somewhere in there. You'll find that. And this is where they landed. This is where they came. Now, my thing is, I don't believe that they split up and went down here. Although we see some of the Mayan and the Olmec tribes, we can see this yellow area here. That was an easy travel. They could have traveled that not only on land, they could have traveled that on ships just in the Pacific and came down through here and found South America. It was land, as long as they can look over and see land in those ships, that little boats or whatever they were in, as long as they can travel this land path here by water, They could enter into South America really easy, right? So I'm sure they explored. The Mayans, the Aztec, and the Olmecs was in this yellow area here. That's one tribe. That's one tribe. That's Issachar. That's one tribe. What I'm thinking, that's one tribe, right? They were in this territory over here. This is where and they were the navigators. The Issachar they navigated the skies, they navigated the oceans. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying about this. We got to be reasonable until we get other proof and other evidence. They navigated. But then we see the Seminole Indians, and we see these West Indies and the Cubans and all of them. You have to get the chart to find out their Israelite names. But we see these areas they still have mostly black people in them. Dominican Republic, Haiti, yes, what's that, Spanish? Haiti's, what did they call Spanish? The Spanish something in Haiti. They call them the Spanish something. But anyway, we see Haiti, we see Puerto Rico, and if you look at those lands there, they got a white side and they got a mixed brown, different shades of brown side, and you can tell just by looking at the women that they are not Edomites. They have light skin, but they're not Edomites. They have all black features, and you can tell that by looking at the women. Because Edomites they're not they're not like us, okay? Their women are not like our women. So, and I'm saying this to say that sure, Columbus, they came down here maybe and found people, found the Olmec and the Aztec and the Mayans. Sure, they found that, right? But that was not the 12 tribes scattered down through here at that time. The 12 tribes, well, I'm saying that to let you know that all the northern kingdom were not, they hadn't been robbed of their melanin. The mark of no melanin that was on Cain and Abel had not been put on the tribe of the Israelites, the northern kingdom, right? I'm saying that was done after the Edomites colonized the northern kingdom over here. They colonized and they took tribes from the northern kingdom and scattered them down here to build their empire. They even have records showing where they took slaves down here in South America to build their empire, sugar and tobacco, and basically sugar, tobacco, and what was the other thing? Tea. They grew cotton in Mississippi. It's the perfect weather for cotton, right? Cotton and sugar and tobacco, Florida, Mississippi. But look at all the Indians. That's not all Gad. Seminole Indians are in Florida. Issachar is over here on this in this left side. That's Issachar over here. Now we still have Choctaw. I got a better map. I'm going to show you. We still got the Choctaw Indians. We got all these Indians up here. I'm going to show you on a better map. The names will come in clear. But at this time, let's see, what year was this? This is around 16. Let's say, I want to say 35. No, this is around 16. This is around the 1400s. Because we don't see a lot of the colonizers' territory marked out in the red. We don't see a lot of that. But this is when they first started coming over here. They brought white slaves first. They brought their white people over here, and they made slaves out of them. They couldn't handle it. They died. They died fast. They were criminals, and they were people, hard-working people. They died over here fast in this hot area. They had to come to this hot area because they couldn't go to North America. For one, it was too many Indians there. It was too many northern kingdoms. And, they had Indian wars. They don't talk about that. The Indian wars, they don't want to talk about the resistance they met when they came here. So they had to come down here where there were very few people. They had to come down to Central and South America and these islands here where there were very few people. This is where they first start bringing African slaves, Jews from Africa over here. That's why you still have people telling the story that they were brought here from Africa, just like Northern America. No, they were brought here first. There were Jews down here first, scattered here. We just read where God said he scattered them among all nations. They were scattered here first. The Jews were scattered first. They down here, okay? They lived on the white man's plantations. But here in North America, it was too populated. They could not capture the people there. Okay? This is a better view of the names of the tribes. So we see the Seminole Indians, the Timucua, Timucua Indians. We see the Muskegee. You can see Choctaw is where my family's from. That's the tribe. We see these names were here. These are the Indian names. Now they picked out Choctaw, Chickasaw, the Muskegon, the Cherokee, the Mohawk. They picked out Indians who they say were civilized, right? Because, they colonized these territories first. Muskegee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, what's that other? Machoke, okay, the Cherokee, okay. This is the areas that they colonized first. See, they were coming from South America, the West Indies, and they started colonizing Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, up through there. They went up that East Coast, right? You see those red areas, very small territories that they had started their colonizing. They conquered those little red areas first, but they came up the coastline from, why did they go up? Why did they leave? Why did they leave? Why did they leave South America where they were doing so well, if they were doing so well? Yeah. Why did they leave there? Because those areas were not fertile. Those areas still not fertile. You get citric. If you're any kind of farmer, you know that you can't really grow a lot of food in that citric area. In sand, you can't grow the stuff in topsoil that you grow in sand. You got pineapples and oranges and lemons and stuff like that. But if you want to get your good crop that you can live off of, you have to go up here, right? You have to go up here. That's why they left here and they stayed on the East Coast. Now this is a map of the territories that they drew and lined out and put their lines in and everything. This is a map today. But Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, all along New Mexico, Arizona, all of that. They stayed along the coastlines, right? We see that. They stayed along the coastlines. And today you don't even see the connection, the landmass connecting North America with South America like we did on the prior maps that we showed you. You can't even tell that they can leave New Mexico into Mexico and travel down to South America. The landmass being the guideline guided them. The Olmecs, the Aztecs, and the Olmec, Aztec, and the Taino Indians, the Mayans. Yeah, okay. Taino Indians, Mayans. That's all Issachar. That's all Issachar, right? Okay, this is a better picture of the world map, the land mass, okay? Now we see all the travel back and forth. Those red lines are showing you the travel lines. It was easier to come from Africa to come up. These are all the traveling. This is all the scattering that was done. It's easy to come down up under Africa, ride the coast of Africa, and come over in South America and the West Indies from underneath. See where Europe is? Civilization between Japhet, which is where Europe is, that was Japhet. Ham and Shem was on the top northeast, central, northeast, northwest Africa. Let's see. I think Israel is down here in this on this right central right part of the screen. Israel is northeast Africa, because we see the Red Sea is this top left of this African, the word Africa, the top left, that right above it in the left, in the right hand is the Red Sea, that blue, white, blue area, that line leading from the top of East Africa down through to that word Africa, to the A in Africa. That's the Red Sea. So right above the Red Sea would be Israel, and then Syria off to the right, going to the right part. Caucasus Mountains going farther up north. Okay, Japhet, Europe. Ham, southeast, South Africa, southeast Africa is Ham's area. We are everything to the west of Africa is Shemites and Hebrew. America is our territory. Everywhere we step our foot, but everything west of Africa, because we know in the top west part of Africa is where Negro land was, is where we fled to the mountains in 70 AD, is where the Most High gave Mary and Joseph directions to go into Africa, fleeing Herod into the mountains. Fleeing to the mountains is the northwest part of Africa. Timbuktu, Babylon, from Babylon to Timbuktu explains that. So we see where the most of the travel at first was right here in this area, the center of the screen, where all those red lines are going, and traveling along South America first. South America, right? And it's kind of blurry, but there was nothing. It was nothing there. It wasn't what they were looking for. Cause why aren't they down there now? Why are they calling those abandoned those lands and called them shithole countries. And they've got their white governors, their dignitary there, just to make sure that people don't rise up and come to America and help free, come to America before their time. I adjure you by God that you torment us not. Is that what the demon said to Jesus? I adjure you, I command you by God until the appointed time that you won't stop us from trampling down, from enjoying our part of the kingdom, our father's blessing, Esau, until God's time, until the ordained time, the proper time. The people in all these islands that are dignitaries, allies of Esau, are there to watch over the Israelites that they have in captivity, to make sure they don't rise up and get in power and come and run them out of North America. Hades, all those islands, you can say what you want to say. Those are the shithole countries. North America is the land of milk and honey. So, just a couple of more things I want to cover. Slavery, 1665, they were bringing Jews and scattered Israelites, because I believe that the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom was mixed up. They were all mixed together from other captivities in Africa, in Negro land. I believe that. And they were scattered there. We know that was predominantly the Jews, the southern kingdom. They were brought here and placed on plantations to do the work. Because why? They could not force these tribes, the 10 tribes, to work for them. They knew the territory too good, too well. And they did not conquer the northern kingdom in Northern America. They couldn't do it. It was too many. Look at them. I know the Israelites said, well, no, they only took a few tribes from the northern kingdom and scattered them around. They didn't have need in Negroes in Europe. They didn't need them there. They were moving their people to this land. Remember what I was told. We discussed in the first part of this video. They were moving out of Europe because they had no resources. They were dying there. They had fished out all the ocean in that territory. They had fished out and ate up everything. And there was not a lot of resources in there in Europe. They were moving their people to a better land. Why do you think they came here? Do you think they came over here looking for a better land because their land was so good? You think they came here looking for all these Negroes because they just wanted to beat them up and put them in captivity? No. They needed us to work and help them to live on the earth. They were dying. They were dying. They came over here to get life from us and our blessings. Right? After the Dark Ages, they were in the caves dying. And they came over here they found us so they could revive themselves. They had to revive. It was God's purpose. It was God's purpose because we had to finish out our punishment. If Christ redeemed us from the curse, why did we come into slavery? Why did we go into slavery on ships? Why didn't he cancel all of that out? No, because that was prophecy, that Deuteronomy 28, that if we didn't keep his laws, we would go into Egypt and be in captivity, in punishment, to be reformed and rehabilitated in our thinking to come back to the Most High God based on hardship. We disconnected from the Most High. So we had to finish this curse out. So that's why he sent them here. And then when our warriors died out, they had captured our children and started sending them to work, child labor. You know, they go against child labor. They don't want you to make their children work, but they'll make your children work and your young people. They'll breed with them. They'll use them. They'll sell them and trade them and, you know, do everything ungodly with our women and men and do everything eugenics to keep us from rising up and leaving the matrix and thinking and governing ourselves and keep us under their jurisdiction. They set up all kind of crafty council and government and people to watch us. That's what the government is for, us. The government is for people to watch us. But the main thing they could use and the best thing they could use against us is us. They make us fight against ourselves. And that's why that curse that they put on us is coming back on. All the curses are being reversed to them. That's why you'll see the same thing that they did to us happening to them. Now they're going to do to each other. Right? The curses are being reversed. They're not in their blessings anymore. They're in their cursing. Esau is in his cursing. Okay, so we're returning to our blessed place. All right, we're returning to Deuteronomy 28:1, where He's going to raise us up above, on high, all the other nations. He's returning the captivity of Israel. He's reversing it and returning us to the place of Deuteronomy 7:6, above all nations. He loves us. He's a covenant-keeping God. Remember that. You don't have anything to worry about if you do what Solomon prayed and asked the Most High. If they do this, will you forgive them and restore them? Because they're going to be messed up when you bring them out. And they're going to need you. He said, if they do this, 1 Kings 8:47 through 52. Read that. If you do that, you'll get all your prayers answered. You'll be restored. Job 20 or 20. So something in Job says, when he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? When he hideth his face, who can behold him? When he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? Whether it be done unto a nation, or a man only. So, in other words, you can be restored because he's a covenant-keeping God. If the 1/3 is going to be restored, they're not going to be restored all at one time. We're going to straggle in individually as we return to our identity and our covenant with God. The blessings are going to start pursuing you. All right? The blessings are going to start pursuing you. They're not now. You're under the curse. I don't care how good your job is or whatever. They might have transferred you from the field to the house. You're a house nigga. You're eating better scraps and everything, But as a nation, and until you come back to your identity and your covenant with the Most High that your parents birthed you in, they birthed you into a covenant with God. Your parents nowadays, they birthed you into a covenant with the wicked. Now you got to leave that covenant, come out from among that covenant, and denounce your citizenship with America, with white America, and reclaim your citizenship with the Most High. You understand? So, the Northern Kingdom is not all pale face. We see them right here. This is the Edomites. You believe everything Esau tell you. He told you, he's showing you where they could not conquer all the Northern Kingdom. And they were black. Because he reclassified them to be Negroes after he declared slavery was over. The civil rights. 1865 slavery was over. These people, they had not conquered all these people, because these people came to the courts and said, we want our lands returned to us, because the land grab was happening at the same time. They were bringing people over here because they had diminished our numbers, of course, because they took us from here, from North America, down to South America. When they began to build their empire and they wanted North America, they removed the people, the Indian Removal Act. They removed the people, right? So we see that that was easily done. But here's the thing: in 1632, 1625, 320,000 people, slaves, were brought to South America. 320,000 Jews from Africa were scattered among North and South America. Now, if that don't explain how the 300 million black people calling themselves Israelites or calling themselves transatlantic slave people are in South America right now. How did they get there? Because they removed them from North America. They eventually brought slaves from Africa to the Caribbeans and North and South America. They died. But they eventually transferred after the swords and the guns and, got plentiful in North America. They transferred Indians, Northern Kingdom, to South America. You can't explain to me how there's almost 300 million black and brown people down there saying their ancestors told them they were brought there from on boats, scattered. Deuteronomy 28 and 68, they were scattered to all lands under the rulership of the Edomites. You can't explain that, because they said they only brought 12 million Africans, slaves from Africa. But it's 300 million black people in South America. It's only, like they say, 70 million people in North America. How did that happen? They had to transfer them, man. There's no other way. Because it was over 300 million. Let's see if I can get that. Look at that. It's over 300. All those Northern Kingdom tribes is up there. That's not Gad, Benjamin, and Issachar. That's not Gad, Benjamin, Judah, and Issachar up there. Right? So we're gonna end this. So you see where I'm coming from. You see where the red coloring is? That's the 13 colonies. Now they came in this way, but they went to the best land and kept the coast, and they kept as close to they stayed as close to Europe as they could get. Where they could shoot over out of Canada into Europe, back to Europe if they had to. Why? Because they had not conquered this territory. They made treaties with them. If they had conquered the Indians, they would have never, the Northern Kingdom, they never would have made treaties with them. They would have just ruled over them with the sword. That was Esau's blessing, to rule with the sword, right? But they never could do that. And they never have. The Seminole Indians, they could not even rule over them. Hades, they couldn't rule over them. When the Seminole Indians ran over left the Trail of Tears and ran over in Mexico, they could not come over there and bring them back. They freed Mexicans from the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the British. They freed them. Mexico. Eventually, the Edomites, they created coup. They set up from the same people that was over there. the people, the white people, the tear, they eventually empowered the tear because that was a prophecy by Jesus Christ that men will sow seed among, that strangers will come in and sow seed while we will sleep. That the enemy came in and sowed his seed and went his way. They couldn't stay there. The Edomites could not stay there. For one, they couldn't live in that sun. For two, they were still hated over there, and they were segregated. And there were more black people, black-looking Afro people in the land than it was Edomites. So what the Edomites had to do is to empower their bastard children, the tear, and eventually strengthen them so they could empower and starve, like they always do, starve out the Afro people in the land, like they did in Haiti, the Dominican Republicans, Puerto Rico. They separated themselves from their Afro kinfolks, and then they got more provisions from Esau, and that made them stronger, which they could rule better, and they had the white man's interest. They had their interest at heart, and that's how they set up their kingdom, and that's what happened here in the America. So anything else, you got to show it to me. You got to show me. You got to answer all those questions. How is the shithole countries more populated than North America? You got to show me that. They only brought 12 million black people. They only got 12 million people from Africa here alive, and they're dead. They were on plantations. What happened to the Indians that they reclassified to be Negroes? Who were they? Were they just Gad? Why would they have to reclassify the Indians if Gad was overthrown and they killed all the Native American Indians? Gad, they didn't kill the Seminole. We just showed you, and they have records showing they couldn't conquer the Seminole Indians. They didn't go all the way on the Trail of Tears. That is not the Seminole. Black Indians are not the Indians in North America now. Northern part of America, North America. They're not, that's not them. The Native American peoples, that's not the Seminole, the Black Indians. They separated from them and went over into Mexico. Right? So you have the Seminole Indians, and you have the runaway black people, Judah, run away from slavery. They all gathered in Florida, and then they detoured over into Mexico. So you have the Issachar and the Seminole and the Jews over in Mexico, in Afro Mexico, and going all down through there. There's Afro population, and there's melanin deficiency population, Edomites, the terror ruling in all these countries, South, Central, and North America, the yellow area, the red area, all those places where you see the white government, the tourist side, but they don't never display the Afro side of these countries. That's what happened. Answer those questions, and I'll leave you alone. All praise to the Most High.